Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run over me.
Jan Lewis, welcome to be my guest. Today we have a wildlife photographer, Peter Christoph. He's also a speaker and an author. Welcome, Peter.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Peter came down from Lancaster. I know it pretty well up there. I used to go through Shrewsbury to Route 70. And does 70 take you all the way up to Lancaster? No.
Takes you all the way to Lancaster and right almost past my house.
Almost past your house, because I know that there's a school for boys up there, and I remember that one. Now, Peter, I read about Peter in one of the, I think on our Mendon Upton Town Crier. On November 27th, before we forget, in Mendon at the Taft Library at 7 p.m., he's going to have a presentation, Owls of New England. And you're going to be showing pictures of the owls?
Yeah, there's 8 species of owls that you can find in New England, and I'll be showing pictures of all of those, plus a few other rarities that venture into our territory.
I love owls. Is it true that they're really turning their head all the way around?
270 degrees, so it's almost all the way around.
Wow.
Well, you're not alone. Everybody loves owls.
Yeah.
People love owls because they have round faces.
Yeah.
They look like us.
They look like they're very thoughtful. You know, they're very smart.
Yes.
Weren't they like in...
They're very wise, like the wise old owl.
Right, magicians and that type of thing. Now, he's published also 3 books. Are these all on bird life? Is that correct?
They are, yep. My third one, my latest one is right here.
Oh, let's see.
Well, I have 2. This one was my second one.
Let me hold it up for you there.
Yep.
Oh, look at Birds by Peter Christoph. This is the owl right on the front.
Yeah, that's a snow owl. That's my second book, and this is my third book, The Art of Bird Photography.
Oh, so you're going to help people understand how to do it.
Yeah. That one has a lot of owls in it, and I share tips on how I take the photographs and where to find the birds.
Where would we find these books?
These books are available on my website.
What's your website? Go for it.
PeterChristoph.com. Peter Christoph, all one word.
Yeah.
Or they're available at 5 or 6 bookstores. There's one at Parker River called Birdwatcher Supply.
Okay.
They're available at the Johnny Appleseed Visitor Center in Lancaster and a couple other book centers as well.
How about Tatnock over here?
They're not available at Tatnook. I haven't approached them yet.
You need to go. They love books. They love authors over there.
Yeah.
How long have you been writing the books?
I wrote my first book back in it wasn't 19 something. It was back in about 8 years ago.
8 years ago.
That one I don't have. That one has sold out. So these are the only 2 available now.
That's a snowy owl, right?
That's a snowy owl. My favorite owl is a snowy owl. Yeah.
Is that what was in Harry Potter?
Yes.
A snowy owl. Okay,
He had a pet snowy owl.
Yes.
Which a lot of people don't know is illegal to have an owl of any kind. But
why?
Well, they're protected species. Everybody would want to have one. Everybody would go catch one if they could, and then the owls would be gone.
Good luck catching him, though.
Yeah.
The talons on this character. When did you start getting an interest in wildlife?
Back when I was a kid. My brother was into birds before me. He was a birder. I'm a bird photographer. And I remember we were about 5 or 6 years old, and my brother woke me up from my sleep in the night. He goes, "Peter, I hear an owl. Let's go find the owl." So I'm like, okay. So we go out and we wander out into the backyard and into the neighbor's orchard. And we lay on our backs, because my brother's teaching me what to do. Lay on our backs and look up into the pine grove for the owl. So my parents woke up about 7 o'clock. This was a Sunday, and they said, "Where's Peter and Roy?" Because they didn't hear us. They went into our bedrooms. We were gone. So imagine that you're a parent and your kids are gone.
Yeah, I'm a parent. Yeah.
So they went outside calling, and we're like, "Well, we're just out here in the orchard listening for owls," like most kids would do at 5 o'clock in the morning. Right? So my brother was the one who got interested.
Was he your older brother or
birds.
younger brother?
Older brother.
He was your older brother. And did you get into trouble?
I'm sure they were happy to have us back, so they didn't.
Yeah. We didn't get eaten by the owl, but did you tell Mom and Dad we saw an owl? Did you?
We never saw the owl. We heard the owl.
You heard him?
Yeah.
How many do you think, let's just say Upton, how many do you think, off the top of your head, would resign? And I've seen one.
Well, if you have a lot of woods,
yeah.
My brother has told me there's probably one owl in every 6 acres of woods.
That many?
And if you go walking through the woods right now, there's probably owls up there looking down at you.
But aren't they night guys? Don't they kind of sleep in the day?
Right. So when they're roosting during the daytime, they're trying to camouflage themselves. They have really good camouflage anyway.
Yeah.
So they're sitting on the top of a tree right next to the trunk, you know, disguised there. So they're looking down at you all the time.
I remember it was in the movie Camelot. Richard Harris, goes back a while, and they had, it looked like the wise owl in a tree. Something, we were just talking about, almost that magical magician type of feeling. There's a mystery about an owl. He's my favorite bird. There's just something about them. They look wise, smart. Is that your favorite, right?
Yeah, they are mysterious.
Yeah.
You know, until I found my first snowy owl, I kind of thought they were maybe a myth too.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
I
that's
thought
your
snowy
favorite.
owl was like a ghost.
You thought
Lived
that
up
was
in the
a
Arctic only.
So you loved it since you were a kid. And you're in high school. When you left high school, did you go into studying birding?
No, I wasn't into birds like my brother. My mother hauled us around to different places to see birds when I was a kid. We went to Plum Island a lot.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day, seeing an osprey was really rare because
Yeah.
a lot of those birds almost died off
Yeah.
from DDT. So it wasn't until later on, maybe about 9 or 10 years ago, I got interested in birds again, photographing them.
Yeah. So you left college or high school. You didn't know what you were going to do regarding this. This was just 10 years ago that you began doing it, right?
Yep.
Did you surprise your whole family?
When I became a bird photographer,
Yeah.
I surprised myself because if you had asked me when I was 18, what are you going to be doing when you're 50?
Yeah.
I would have not have said photographer or
No.
bird photographer. But it's something that happened after I was working in printing I had a career in printing and a career in graphic design.
Yeah.
I was an art director at an advertising agency. So I did do some photography for the advertising agency,
Yeah.
but I've always loved being outside.
Yeah.
So I left the advertising agency, Martha Stewart and all those people,
Yeah.
and I went out and now I'm doing bird photography and I love it.
Now you were in printing, right?
Yep.
In the mid 1970s, my father had a printing shop in Dennisport, Mass. You were probably not old enough.
No, I started printing around 1980.
Okay. Yeah, then he sold it. But he tried his hand. He always wanted, I guess, to do printing. So he opened a printing shop. It was a lot of work
Yeah.
because he'd worked corporate for a long time. It's a little different. And then he sold it to one of his employees. And then he went back, believe it or not, into corporate. And not because he loved corporate, but being an executive sales rep, it was just easier. But he got it to be out of his bonnet, and he got the printing. But you loved printing, right?
I did. Yeah, my a lot of my family was in printing as well.
Yeah.
And my sister still is in printing back in Leominster.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Show us this camera. When he brought this in, I pulled this up and
This is my camera that I use. Yep.
This is amazing. I've never seen anything like this. Looks like a gun almost.
Yeah. A lot of people think that it's a telescope. People that don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But it's I have a Canon 1DX, top of the line Canon, and the lens is an 800 millimeter.
Yeah.
So the reason why I made the investment in this camera lens, the camera's about $6,000. The lens is a $12,000 lens. That way, see, I don't like to disturb the birds when I photograph them, so I want to stay as far away as I can from these owls and other birds. So with the 800 millimeter, I'm able to stand far back, a couple
Let me
hundred
hold this
feet.
for a second. This is now. How heavy? Oh my God!
Pretty heavy.
How can you hold it?
Well, you do it every day and you get used to it. Now, you don't have to go work out at the gym this afternoon because you're all set right now.
You don't have anything to set it on.
I have a tripod.
Okay. Oh, so you don't always have to hold it.
No.
Look, and then you get those birds. What's this top piece here? What's that?
Keep holding that for about half an hour.
Okay, yeah, here.
No,
That is heavy.
This is actually the...
What is that?
This goes around like this, and it mounts to the tripod.
Oh. Did you ever drop it?
So it sits on a tripod like
Holding
that.
it too long? I mean...
Have I ever dropped it?
Yeah.
I have never dropped it. I have friends who have dropped their cameras, and it's always a sad day.
Yeah.
It's like worse than getting into a car crash.
That's a lot
Yeah.
of money into that.
People start to cry.
Did you leave your regular... You just left your printing job and said, I'm going to go into bird photography.
I was in graphic design as an art director.
Yeah.
And Martha Stewart can be a little picky,
You worked with her?
She was one of the customers. I worked for Rite Aid, Sears,
Yeah.
Welch's Grape Juice. So I left that, and I am now a bird photographer. But the thing I like about bird photography is I don't consider it a job.
No, it's fun.
If you find something that you love, you never work another day in your life.
No.
Like you probably know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. I've been a big fan of that. If you dread what you're going to do every morning when you get up, is it worth it? because it takes a lot out of you physically. The stress, you end up with stomach aches, cramps, headaches, you name it. But you love what you're doing.
I do. I get up early in the morning. I go out and photograph all day. Sometimes I'll be doing workshops
Yeah.
with people.
Oh, you have workshops.
I do workshops.
Tell us about those.
Then I come home and I'll go out and I'll speak at a camera club or a library or Audubon Sanctuary. Get home at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like I worked.
No, you had fun. You shared your
I had
interest.
fun.
What was I just going to say? Well, you're going to be at Taft on November 27th. That's if you're watching from out of state, out of town, you don't know what I'm talking about. But the Mendon Town Library next door to us has a Taft library, Taft. And Peter is going to be there doing an owl presentation. Is it going to be like PowerPoints, Peter?
Yeah, it's a slideshow that goes on for about an hour. And I'll be talking about all the different owls that I have found in New England.
Yeah.
I just gave this talk of 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty popular talk.
Where were you? Where did you?
I was at a camera club, the Gateway Camera Club over in Framingham.
I've heard about them. How did they find out about you over at Taft Library?
I run into people when I'm out there photographing.
Yeah.
I ran into a lady who was out photographing a owl in Newburyport a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And she was interested in photographing more, so I took her on a workshop.
Yeah.
And I've taken her on a couple workshops, and she was part of that group, part of that camera club, so she invited me to speak.
Now, where are your workshops? Where do you do that?
I do the workshops in New England.
Yeah.
Do them out at the beach. If they're snowy owls, if they're
the
screech
beach?
owls, I
At the
go
beach?
to Eastern Mass. Yep.
I didn't know they'd be out on the beach.
The snowy owls come to the beach.
I didn't know that. We used to go to Cape Cod all the time.
Yeah, they're all over Cape Cod. Cape Cod, Salisbury, Rye Harbor, Hampton Beach.
I had no idea. No idea. I would think they would stay mysteriously in the woods.
Well, they come down here from the Arctic tundra, and when they see the ocean, they see the beach, it reminds them of their habitat back home, so they fit right in on the beach. Very rarely will you see them out, in the woods towards central Massachusetts.
Where do you think, of all in New England, where have you seen the most?
The most owls?
Yeah.
Well, snowy owls, I would say Parker River.
Where's that?
Parker River Wildlife Sanctuary.
Okay.
It's Plum Island. It's on the East Coast. It's a National Wildlife Refuge.
How many baby owls does a couple have?
An owl can have between 2 and 7 eggs.
7?
8, 9. And that depends upon how the rodent population is.
Yeah.
So if the pair of owl looks down and sees a whole bunch of rats and mice, they go, this is going to be a good year, let's have a lot of babies.
Like they have control over it.
They
Don't
do.
tell me.
No, they can lay more eggs if they want to. If they think they're going to have plenty of food for the owls to eat, they will lay more eggs.
I never knew that.
And if there's
Other
not
birds,
a lot of birds...
But they don't do that, right? Other birds?
I'm not so familiar with the other birds, but I know that's how it is with the owls.
That's how they do it.
Same with the great gray owls that live up north in Canada.
Yeah.
They look around, they see a lot of
Mice?
or whatever they eat. They say, let's have a big family this year.
So instead of looking for a condo and, that type of thing, they say, well, let's see, there's got a lot of rats down here, mice.
Yep.
All right, let's up the ante here with the amount of kids we're going to have.
Yep.
I think that's hysterical.
Yeah, and researchers have found that the owl population is always correlates directly to the lemming population or the mice population.
I had no idea.
So mice go up in population, then so does the owl.
I think that's amazing. Now, you've published the 3 books. What was the other one, the other book that you had?
The other book has a woodpecker on the front.
Yeah.
That was my first book, and it was called Birds.
Birds. Okay, that makes sense.
That was my first edition of the Birds.
Before we forget, we're talking with Peter Christoph, and he is a wildlife photographer, speaker, and an author. How can people get a hold of you, Peter?
On my website, peterchristoff.com. My contact information is there. You can reach me by phone or my email address, which is also listed there, crosstone@hotmail.com.
It's Christoph, Chrisistoph. A lot of people will say Christopher, Peter Christoph. Now, besides being an award-winning bird photographer, you are an avid advocate for preserving wildlife. Tell us about what you've been doing on that.
Yeah, well, a lot of species are in decline because of the habitat loss, and one that I've particularly paid attention to and learned about was the American kestrel. And the American kestrel's habitat is open grasslands.
What is a kestrel bird? What does it look like?
A kestrel is it's a small falcon. It's the smallest falcon in North America.
Yeah.
And when they have no more habitat, they die off. So what we can do to help them, and what I've done to help them especially, is put up kestrel boxes.
Yeah.
It's a pretty large bird box,
Yeah.
bigger than a bluebird box. And I put those up in places next to the habitat they like, the grasslands.
Yeah.
And then hopefully the kestrels will come and find them and move in. So I put up 6
Yeah.
in the past couple of years.
You're allowed to do that.
Well, I work in cooperation with Division of Fish and Wildlife.
Oh, cool.
And the trustees of reservations and Mass Audubon.
Yeah. I love Mass Audubon.
So everyone works in partnership together. I get the permission to put up a spot. And one of the spots I put up, my first kestrel box, was a half mile from me on a trustees of reservation spot called Dexter Drumlin.
Up there in Lancaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I put that box up, and a kestrel pair found it within 2 months. They
That's
moved
all.
in, and then I monitor the boxes. There's about a dozen that I monitor. I open up the box, and I can see 5 eggs in there, and the
That was
mother's
quick.
sitting on the eggs.
That was quick.
That was exciting.
Do
yeah.
they take turns sitting on the eggs?
The kestrels?
Yeah.
Now that one you got me on.
Okay. How about the owls?
The owl, the female will always sit on the eggs, and the male will go hunt and bring the food in.
So he'll bring the mice back.
Yep, and he'll drop it off at the nest. She'll rip it up into pieces and give it to her babies.
Oh.
Yeah.
Don't tell my cats that.
As if eating mice wasn't gross enough, right? They rip the mice apart and feed it.
So these 2 kestrels took only 2 months to get that little condo you made them, right?
Yep.
They were in there and they already had their family waiting.
Well, they had their eggs waiting. They
Yeah.
had 5 eggs in there. When I open up the box, because part of my job that I do with the Division of Fish and Wildlife and Mass Audubon is to check on the boxes.
Yeah.
If you don't check on them, something like a starling can move in, and then you just put up an expensive starling box.
Oh,
So you have to make sure those other birds don't move in.
So they'll kick out the kestrels?
We kick out the starlings if we find them.
No, but would the starling kick out the kestrel family?
They won't kick them out, but they might move in first.
Ah. Roadhogs.
Yeah. So once I found the eggs, I contact Drew Vitz.
Yeah.
Drew Vitz is the state ornithologist with Massachusetts, and he comes out and we ban the owls, or he bans the owls, puts the little bands around their feet.
But how do you get that owl to calm down long enough to do this?
That's what I didn't know. But on banding day, it was surprising. He goes into the nest and he grabs the little kestrel, and he holds it in his hand, and the kestrel just leans back and puts up his feet. It's very docile.
But an owl won't do that, right?
Owls are more aggressive.
You have to
Yeah.
kind of sedate them.
No,
No?
you go in with
Gloves.
protective gloves.
Yeah.
And there's certain owls, I forgot which one, that people that banned them up in Canada, they put on a helmet and a face mask.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's a goshawk. The goshawk is the
Right.
most fiercest predator.
You know how you know all these different breeds of how many? Gosh, dare I? How many breeds of birds are there?
In the world?
Well, let's say in New England.
Oh, in New England.
Yeah.
I think in the world there's like 9,000 different kinds of birds. In New England, you could probably find up to 600 species of birds.
600 species of birds.
Yeah.
I always thought that an owl would be vicious. Do they go on the attack?
I've never been attacked by an owl.
Yeah.
Or
And
a
you've
hawk.
taken a lot of pictures, too.
Yeah, I've got a lot of close-ups of hawks and owls. The only bird that has ever attacked me, and would attack you too, is if you went near its nest, is the least tern.
A tern.
Yeah, like a little bird that goes around the ocean, walks around the ocean.
Yeah.
And if you get near their nest, they'll come and attack you.
I think recently, we were down in our neighborhood, we saw, I think, what was it, an eagle? What was that
No,
thing?
it was a hawk.
A hawk. Whoa, we're looking around, and it was like a swampy area. This guy was right there. Will they bite?
A goshawk, the northern goshawk, will attack you if you're near its nest. I have
Okay.
2 friends that accidentally walked under their nest, and the goshawk attacked them. So if you're getting attacked by a goshawk, you immediately want to leave, because they will try to kill you. And I've never had the pleasure of running into a goshawk. I'm still looking for one.
Maybe you shouldn't. You want to keep your shirt from becoming rags, right? Now, when you go out and you promote preserving the wildlife, how many presentations do you give per month, and are you available to anybody who'd like to have you come?
Yeah, in a year I do about 35 presentations.
That's really good. Where's the furthest you've gone?
I've spoken in Fort Myers, Florida.
Yeah.
I've spoken in all over New England, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, Connecticut.
Up in New Hampshire, up in the
I'd rather
right-
only drive about a half a mile or a mile.
Yeah.
So
I
my
know.
favorite library is Thayer Memorial Library
Up in Lancaster.
up in Lancaster.
Yeah.
Hi, Karen Silverthorne. So Karen likes to have me speak at the Thayer Memorial Library.
Yeah, you're probably a regular there.
I am, yeah. I speak there usually once or twice a year.
And you get the word out. It's by word of mouth of people you know, Audubon and all these different places, so they can. But if somebody out there is watching, and maybe, do you ever go to the schools for the kids?
I don't do a lot at schools. They don't have the budget for it usually.
Yeah.
But most of my speaking is at the libraries, camera clubs. I speak for National Wildlife Refuges, Mass Audubon. And then nationally, I've spoken for the Photographic Society of America. They have a annual conference.
Where is that?
Last year I was in Pittsburgh. That's
Yeah.
where they were. They move around every year.
Okay, you went out to Pittsburgh for that.
Yeah, that was a good time. And then there's a regional conference, the New England Camera Club Council.
Yeah.
And that's a gathering of about 48 clubs.
Where do they meet?
That's in Amherst, at UMass Amherst.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Yeah, that was a pretty good
The New England
pretty good
Camera Society.
New England Camera Club Council.
Club Council. Anybody who's into cameras can
Yeah,
photography can go.
yeah, that's a good. They have a lot of speakers. It's for a whole weekend,
Ooh.
and people speak on different topics.
Do they put you up, or
Birds
do you have to get your own motels?
No, they put me in a nice hotel there.
They did.
Yeah, that's part of the whole thing.
That's really good. Now, when you give your workshops, you actually will. Let's say a library got contacted you and said, "We'd love you to do some workshops here." Would you do that? Is that how you get them out?
Well, what I do is when I speak at a library, I will mention my workshops, and people come up to me after the talk, like 2 days ago,
Yeah.
and say, "How do I sign up for your workshops?"
Yeah.
I give them my cards, and so I'm going to have 3 owl workshops coming up this winter.
Up in Lancaster?
No, these owl workshops will be where the owls are. There aren't very many owls in Lancaster.
Okay, where are you going to be going?
We'll go to the east,
Yeah.
eastern part of Massachusetts,
Yeah.
New Hampshire, Vermont.
So that's where you do them in different places, different towns, and different kind of, okay.
I do my workshops where the birds are going to be.
Yeah.
So in the spring, when I'm doing like pileated woodpeckers or herons, I'll go to the swamps.
Yeah.
I'll go to the forests where I know the birds are.
So is it like a one-day workshop?
It's a 1-day workshop. Yeah,
Okay.
we go out for a whole day. It's one-on-one workshop.
How much is it for people who might want
The workshops are $295.
Okay.
And that's for 8 hours, includes professional instruction, and lunch.
Do they bring their own camera?
They bring their own camera, yeah.
Okay.
So I show people how to use their camera, what settings to use if they need instruction in that.
So no fear using your cell phone, right?
Sometimes I do.
Oh, I got to tell you, though, over at Walmart, you can get one of those little Fuji ones that, indoor, outdoor. Do you know those pictures come out nice?
Yeah, especially if you're outdoors.
Yeah, they really come out well.
I take a lot of pictures with my cell phone outdoors.
And the thing is, those things used to be about $4 or $5. They're going up on the price on those little cameras. They're now like $10, $11. I'm like, why? Maybe because so many people are using their cell phones now.
Right, so now I have competition.
What, Peter, would you suggest to somebody who wanted to get into this? First of all, looking at that gorgeous camera, I mean, that's a lot of money. So first of all, someone's got to be able to get the right equipment. What would you suggest to them?
Well, I do have that's a question that's asked of me a lot,
Yeah.
probably over a dozen times. What camera should I buy? Now, most people getting into it, I recommend them to get a beginner camera like a Canon Rebel line, and to get a kit lens, a lens that comes with the camera.
Yeah.
And then I had this one lady who surprised me. I recommended this inexpensive little camera and lens, and she kept going with it, and she took her skills to a whole nother level. Pretty soon she was out there shooting with a camera almost like this one and a huge 500 millimeter lens.
Let's show them again.
Yeah.
This looks like a camera attached to a horn of some kind. It's heavy. Whoa, okay. Here.
So if I had known that this person was going to, go so far, I would have said to them, go out and buy a 500 millimeter and buy the best camera you can buy. But you don't know what someone's going to do.
Did she come to one of your workshops?
Yeah, she was on one of my workshops, and then she just took off with it, and
That's it.
She
And she's
really
doing
excelled.
well.
Yeah.
She's doing really well.
So if I knew ahead of time, I would have said, skip all the intermediate, skip the beginning camera, and just go for the best.
So in other words, let's say if somebody's seriously interested in it, about how much money are we looking at? They want to get the camera and everything.
Well, like I have here, you have
That was $12,000, right?
7 and 10, 17,000.
Okay, about $17,000.
But if someone is just wanting to get into it, you
Yeah.
could probably spend $1,000 and get into it.
And get into it.
Yeah.
The birds, like when you were seeing the birds and you're walking, You pick a place where you're going, or as you're driving along the highway, you say, I'm going to stop here, or what? How do you do it?
A combination of that, yep.
Yeah.
Usually I have places that I know that I've already scoped out where I've seen birds.
Yeah.
And I like to go visit new spots all the time, too.
Yeah, yeah.
But if I'm driving along the highway and I see a what looks like a great horned owl in a nest on the side of Route 95,
Yeah.
I'll stop the car, get out my phone and my Maps app on there,
Yeah.
figure out where I am, then I'll come back later and I'll find the side roads that lead me around to the back of that swamp. And I'll
But
go into
how,
that
if you're
swamp.
driving, can you tell if there's an owl up there?
Well, if you've been looking for owls as long as I have,
Yeah.
one of the signs, one of the best ways is to, if you're looking in a great blue heron rookery,
Yeah.
look for two little ears sticking up.
Yeah.
You see those two little ears sticking up of the great horned owl.
So if I was driving along Kankabongas Highway in New Hampshire,
You might see it.
okay, so I got to look for ears,
First you look for the great blue heron nest,
a nest.
and then
but,
you look for two little ears sticking up.
But doesn't it look like a squirrel's nest? I see squirrel's nests,
Well, no, in the heron rookery you're going to see a big, large nest.
huge.
Yeah, that a great blue heron might be in.
Okay,
Then because they will take over the nests of other birds.
but the owl, you got to be pretty scoped to see their little ears as you're driving along.
Yeah.
Do you ever have to screech to a stop and say, "Oh, an owl"?
I often screech to a stop. Sometimes I forget to put my car into park,
Oh my God.
and the car starts driving away. So I will screech to a stop. Yeah.
Do people come up a lot and say to you, "What are you doing? What pictures are you taking?"
Yeah, I had a cop stop me in Bolton, and he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm looking for an albino hawk that I heard about." And he was friendly, and he told me about some other birds I could also look at after.
Really?
That.
He
Yeah.
may have thought you had a bazooka.
Yeah, that's why they usually stop me, because of the bazooka.
Do you ever run into a lot of other bird photographers out there too?
I do. I do see a lot of other bird photographers that are also chasing after the birds, and
That's cool.
so we have a good camaraderie out there.
Yeah. Is there a club in this area, an organization people can join?
In Upton,
Well, in Massachusetts in general, something that if you're interested in it, you can.
yeah. Are you're close to Framingham or no?
Oh yeah, Framingham's not far from here at all.
Yeah, the Gateway Camera Club. I recommend the Gateway Camera Club, where I spoke 2 days ago. They're a good group. They have about 100 people in there.
That's good. Yeah.
Yep.
100 photographers.
Yep.
Ah, of all different things, not just wildlife, but of different things. All
Yeah, landscapes, people, you name it.
We got about 1 minute left. Again, Peter, how can they reach you?
You can go to my website, peterchristoff.com, or call me at 978-549-4812, or use your email app and bring up, or send your email to crossstone@hotmail.com.
We've been talking with Peter Christoph, and he is an award-winning bird photographer, wildlife photographer, speaker, and an author. He's got a couple books out. He also has another book, too. And he is going to be at the Mendon Taft Library on November 27th, 7 p.m. Come and watch his presentation, Owls of New England. So it's going to be pretty fun, huh? Yeah, I'll get over there and see it.
I love it.
I love owls.
I get to relive all my experiences every time I give a talk, so I love giving the talks.
Do people ask a lot of questions? Before, after, or during?
Sometimes during, and I always have a question and answer period afterwards.
Oh, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so those of you who loved Harry Potter, your favorite owl is the snowy owl, right? And I think it's mine too. So this is going to be fun. I hope I can get over there.
They really do exist.
Yes, they do. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you
All
for
right.
having me.
We'll see you next
Pleasure.
time and be my guest.